Medicine Shop Pharmacy has been serving Charlotte County for 27 years with the same owner and pharmacist, Wayne Wallace. They offer the personalized service of a small-town pharmacy, but the buying power of a large chain to keep prices low. Medicine Shop specializes in compounding medication, which means custom making them for each patient, including bioidentical hormones. They even have free delivery. Medicine Shop is located on US 41 in Port Charlotte. Call them at 941-627-9855. Metagenics is a worldwide supplement company that offers better health through nutrition and lifestyle medicine. Its high-quality products are designed to help doctors and healthcare professionals offer safe, effective, and more natural approaches to their patients. Metagenics is an industry leader in metabolic detoxification, something we all need because of our toxic environment. They also have numerous supplements to treat illness and maintain health. Metagenics products are only available through healthcare practitioners. To find the one closest to you, go to their website at metagenics.com. When it comes to health and aging, our bodies are under constant attack. Free radicals are your health's #1 enemy. Now there's overwhelming science pointing to antioxidants as the ultimate solution to this free radical assault. The great news is that cocoa is the most powerful antioxidant superfood on the planet. That's right, chocolate. But not just any chocolate, only one chocolate. WRXY is recognized by the U.S. Trademark and Patent Office as healthy chocolate. WRXY is cold-processed cocoa with acai and blueberry. It is delicious. All of the WRXY products proudly display their certified levels of flavonoids and antioxidants. They're among the highest scores of any foods in the world. Are you concerned about your health? You must eat more antioxidants. Why not eat WRXY, the healthy chocolate? To try WRXY, to get more information, or to learn how to build your own part-time business and residual income as part of my team, call 1-800-996-5383 or visit our website, hcinfo.net. Welcome back. I'm Dr. Alan Gruning, and this is Your Prescription for Health. And today we're talking with Denise Zolden, a dear friend of mine who is a licensed clinical social worker and a Christian counselor at Riverside Counseling Center. And we've been talking about the connection between body, mind, and spirit. And before the break, we were talking about this whole thing, Denise, about unforgiveness and how this seems to be a root cause of a lot of problems that people are experiencing. So why don't you give me your definition of that?
Well, I wanted to make sure that people understood that forgiveness does not necessarily mean that you go back in relationship with the person. And that is something that people who've been abused badly need to hear, because to forgive somebody doesn't mean you bring them back into your life.
Okay, that's very important that they know that.
It's very important, because reconciliation means the person who wounded you recognizes the depths of the pain they caused you, asks forgiveness, and then you can, if you choose, you can go back into relationship. But without that person recognizing what they've done to you, reconciliation is not possible, but you can still forgive. That means you release what they've done to you. The forgiveness is between you, the person, and God. You let it go and you just trust it to God. Doesn't mean they have to come back.
There's an important reason why we should forgive people then.
Because the unforgiveness in your own heart, it's held there by a lie. You're believing something that's untrue about holding it, such as I'm paying them back, or they're not getting off the hook. You know, somebody has to hold them accountable. But really what's happening is you're the one that is damaging your own body, your own mind, your own spirit with your unforgiveness.
Wow. So unforgiveness really, and this is what I try to tell my patients, unforgiveness doesn't hurt them, it's just hurting you.
And it doesn't mean when you forgive them that it's okay what they did. That does not mean what forgiveness is.
Okay.
Forgiveness means you're trusting God. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, I will repay. You trust God that He is fair and just, and He will be fair and just in dealing with the person who injured you. But you don't become God and you take exact an eye for an eye. That's not Jesus' way.
And you can't really control how other people respond. All you can do is do what Jesus told us to do. And He said, if we don't forgive people their sins, our Father in heaven isn't going to forgive us. That's what He said. And that's pretty scary when you think about that. And so if we're harboring these feelings of unforgiveness, that's like a major cause that people will wind up in your office.
And I also say when I'm unable to forgive somebody something they've done to me, that means I've forgotten how much I've been forgiven. I need to park at the cross for a little while and think about, what has Jesus forgiven me from?
Wow, so we've talked about a couple of major things. We've talked about past hurts in childhood and how they affect your behavior in the future. We've talked about this whole idea of unforgiveness and how that affects your behavior, but it also affects your physical health. And I know that you and I are both very interested in the connection between mental and physical health, and there's a huge correlation there, isn't there?
Absolutely.
So what has been your experience with that? People who are having unhealthy minds, how are they doing physically?
Well, here's what you and I both know from working with some of the same clients is when the spirit, when the emotions are really negative, they're pumping negative hormones into the body. And as you know, the fight or flight response, which is the normal reaction we all have when something unpleasant is happening to us, it pumps cortisol, adrenaline, hormones for us to, from the beginning of time, run or fight. But when you're prolonged under that kind of stress, when it's a prolonged situation where you're not forgiving or you're not getting out of an environment that's horrible for you, the body was never designed for that prolonged impact of adrenaline, of cortisol. What does it do to the body? You're the doctor.
It has major effects, and this is some of the stuff that I deal with in my practice all the time, is the health effects from having this abnormal stress response in your body. Your adrenal glands are working on overdrive to try to produce cortisol and adrenaline and all these other hormones that we need, DHEA, etc. And eventually it just gets tired and it gives out, and that's what causes chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia. And then people have no energy to do anything, and they're just exhausted. And that's what I hear from people is they're saying, Dr. Gruning, I'm exhausted. I have no energy. I'm fatigued all the time. I can't do the things in church that I want to do. I can't serve in ministry the way I want to do. And then we trace it back and we find out that there's all these negative emotions that have fueled that.
And sometimes what the negative emotions are about is, when I said the definition of health is you're consciously aware of your thoughts, your feelings, and your behaviors, many of us push down our feelings. Like when something bad is going on in your environment, maybe your spouse is not being respectful of you or not treating you considerately, and you've fought about it so much that you're not fighting about it anymore. You're pushing it down to the point that it's eating up your body. You're having your adrenal response, you're having your cortisol reaction, fight or flight, but you're stuffing it into your body. And what does it do into your body? Tearing your body down. You get insomnia. You're having backaches. You're having pain in your joints. And all of this is coming from your physical, from pushing down your emotions and not dealing with them. Mental health is, okay, what am I feeling? Why am I feeling it? And I need to act upon it. And that's another. High anxiety is one of our key problems in our society, and anxiety is telling you you need to make a change, but you shove that down and ignore it, and what are you doing? You're going to medicate it.
Well, yeah, you should just find some other way to medicate it. And right now, generalized anxiety disorder is one of the most frequent things people go to a doctor's office for, and it's because we live in a very stressful society with financial pressures, family pressures, working 3 jobs, all the things that we're doing, and so you wind up going to the doctor's office and you've got palpitations, tremors, you're feeling terrible, your gut's in an uproar, headaches, and you go to the doctor and they give you an antidepressant. And so the answer is to medicate it. And if they don't medicate it, then you'll medicate it. You'll take drugs, you do alcohol, you use food, you'll sex, whatever it is that you're going to do to stuff the problem and hurt and feel so you don't feel the hurt.
Rather than pull all the way back and examine your life and say, I need to prioritize what's more important. And there is a whole movement in the United States for people to downsize, get out of these big houses and these big cars and downsize because it's eating them up.
So when people come to your practice, I know that you use various techniques to help them to deal with the past hurts and the unforgiveness and all these issues that we're talking about that are causing a lot of their physical symptoms that they're experiencing. So what are some of the techniques that you use?
One technique that I was trained in from the founder back at least 6 years ago was Theophostic prayer ministry, and it's a technique that's very similar to a secular technique. And what we do is we go back into memories and find out what the person was believing in the memory that's coming forward in their present life. So the premise is that 90% of our ongoing emotional pain today is tied to lies that we began to believe about ourselves, usually before we were 12 years old. Hence those childhood...
So when you're kids, okay.
Your identity's forming and you're believing untruths about yourself according to God and what He believes about you, such as I'm worthless, there's something wrong with me. I've had clients who said, I'm worse than a negative, than nothing. I'm a negative.
Wow.
When they get into their
Right.
feelings, I'm a negative. I'm a burden. You know, I'm a pain to people. I should never have been born. People have these feelings down here that they're not consciously aware of. So we go back into a memory and find out, what were you believing when this was going on in your childhood? And if they can get in touch with those feelings in a memory, we can invite the Lord to speak truth into that place. And you would not believe the relief that people get. I could tell them the same thing, you could tell them the same thing, but when they're in the memory and they hear truth from the Lord, it goes right to the gut and the core where the lie was. When we tell them, it's data, it goes cognitively. But when He tells them, it's experiential, it goes to where the pain was. And it's profoundly freeing. You shall know the truth, and the truth will make you free.
And it's very interesting because as you described this, what was coming to my mind was you're not really healing anybody.
Not healing any. I'm not doing
You're just a
anything.
conduit.
I am a conduit.
Right. And that's kind of the way I look at it in my practice, too. I'm just a vessel that God is using, but He's really
Absolutely.
the healer. He's Jehovah Rapha, and He can heal us physically,
Absolutely.
He can heal us emotionally, He can heal us spiritually. So what you're really doing is inviting Jesus to come in and heal people.
Absolutely.
So how does this work for someone who doesn't know Jesus?
Well, that's really interesting because usually what I will just say is, how are you with just asking God, what do you want her to know? What do you want him to know? Are you okay with asking just God? And most people are. You know, they will. So when I hold it up and say, God, what do you want him to know? Even those who don't believe will say, I'm just sensing this. And I'm like, well, does that give you peace? What does that make you feel like? Yeah, it feels true. So even those who don't particularly believe in Jesus can still get a sense of truth, because God is truth. And if they're open at all to God, they're going to hear truth.
Well, and the Lord may use the situation that they're going through to lead them to Him, and you could be a vessel to help them. Yeah, to help them to find Christ.
And there have been people that have come to Christ.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah. That's exciting. So if people want to learn more about their emotional health and they're struggling maybe with the past or unforgiveness or hurts, and they can't get past it, and they need some help from someone like you, a certified Christian counselor, how do they get in touch with you?
Well, you can contact us through Riverside Counseling Center, through the Riverside
What's the number there?
Church Ministry. I don't have it off the top of my head.
Okay, Riverside Counseling Center.
Yeah.
And ask for Denise. Denise is a wonderful Christian counselor, and I'm just so proud of her. And we've been talking about the relationship between physical, emotional, and spiritual health. And a lot on this show we talk about physical health, and we've talked a little about emotional health, but your spiritual health is important too. You know, it's all about having this balance in your life. And when one part of this, physical, emotional, spiritual, is out of balance, everything's out of balance, it all is terrible, and your whole life is falling apart. And so if you're not sure that you have a vibrant spiritual life, if you don't have a vibrant relationship with God through Jesus Christ, because that's what I found is essential, go to my website at prescriptionforhealth.tv, click on the box about how to have spiritual health, and learn more about how to have this part of your life back in balance. Thank you for joining me today. I'm Dr. Alan Gruning. Thank you for watching Prescription for Health, Southwest Florida's local weekly TV program devoted to holistic health and healing. This is an outreach of Christian Health Ministries, dedicated to providing free medical care to the poor and uninsured of Southwest Florida who are in pain. If you would like to give toward the work of our free clinic, please send your tax-deductible donation to the address on the screen. God bless you on your journey toward better health.